How doing, everyone? Welcome back to Braw Cast. If you've never listened to the show before, it's a lifestyles podcast. It's an attitude podcast. It can be casual, it can be funny, it can be sad, it can be a little bit of everything, but it's something to get you through your day, entertain you, and have a bit of fun. Brought to you by the sexy motherfuckers at Braw Oils. So get that out of the way. My name's Billy Kirkwood. If it's your first time ever tuning in the show, I hope you're amazing, and I hope that you'll share this with your pals and sit through this. We've got a brilliant episode this week where I'm sitting down with a wonderful Veronica Le Strange, who has been a model, presenter, singer, performer, so many other things, backstage announcer at Insane Championship Wrestling, amongst other things, being a part of the huge Cirque de Mort shows. There's a lot to get through in this episode. It's a really fun one because it's nice and casual and we have ourselves a bloody good laugh. First of all, if you are watching the show again, I'm just going to say this one is pre-recorded, right? We do the show live sometimes, but this one is pre-recorded. I was due to be at a gig last week and couldn't do it because I was sick. And the number of people that saw this popping up on social media and put a message going, "Where are you? You're meant to be here." Well, I wasn't even there because it was pre-recorded. So we appreciate you listening to the podcast or watching it live every single Sunday night. You can watch the video version of it, but don't forget, you can head over to YouTube. You can check it out there. Hit that subscribe button and hit that bell as well so you can get notified when we put up the video versions of it on YouTube, and you can watch it whenever you like. Or if you're driving and you're out and about and you fancy listening to it when you're driving down the motorway, you're out walking, you're in the gym, it's up to you. You can check out the audio version of it, which we pop up every Monday. Make sure to hit subscribe on Spotify. You hit follow, don't you? Hit follow on Spotify, wherever you get your podcast from. Right. This one is an absolute belter. I really, really enjoyed it. I've known Veronica for a little while, and we wanted to get an opportunity to get her to come on the show. Finally managed to align. So this is an absolute belter of an episode. So what I'll do is I'll catch you at the end telling you about some of the amazing stuff. Now, couple of bits of order just quick. If you are looking to get your festive orders in for Christmas, you may have missed the deadline, but you can still put in orders for Braw Beard Oils. Maybe you want to get some for just after Christmas, between Christmas and New Year. Kick off the new year with a luxurious beard with t-shirts, hats, brushes, neck gaiters, all manner of amazing stuff. Head over to the website. It's the best way to support this show and keep bringing it to you each and every week. And don't forget that we will be coming to you live. That's right, for the first time ever. Comedy, entertainment, chat. We are going to be doing that event. That's February 19th at the Dry Gate in Glasgow. I'm going to tell you more about that in a wee bit. But first of all, really excited. Let's get over to our chat with Veronica Le Strange. Fun. I am joined by the high priestess of chat from Insane Championship Wrestling. I am joined by the, what shall we call her? The let's call her the Dark Nun of modeling. If there is such a thing. I'm not exactly sure.
There is now.
I am joined by the wonderful Veronica Le Strange. Veronica, how the bloody hell are you?
Well, I'm in a good mood after that introduction.
Did I say the Dark Nun? I said the Dark Nun, but a second. I'll level with you, but a second there was one that said Black Nun, and I was like, that's a different film. That's a completely different film.
But the Dark Nun, I just thought of the Dark Knight, like Batman, but instead of being a bat, like a habit.
Listen, that would scare the absolute shit out of you if you were a criminal going down a dark alley and then suddenly, oh my God, what is this?
A nun in rubber fighting thing.
This has gone back. Look, basically what we're going to do is we're not going to arrest you. We're going to lock you in a prison cell with this nun in rubber, and basically you are fucked. she's trouble. She's been given some government legislated items to basically do with whatever she wants. And you've got to take it.
Would the crime rate go up or would it go down?
Who knows?
I don't know if that's a deterrent for some people.
What I'm going to tell you is there's going to be a lot of prisoners in jail getting made airtight as a result of
airtight.
Just like, I will never do this again. Please don't lock me in the room with the Dark Nun.
Oh no.
Oh, there's going to be a couple of those guys as well, isn't there? Look, it's maybe something we're going to cover later on, but it's such a delight to see it. It's a bit crappy. It's not face-to-face just now, but we thought we'd do it as best we can during these times. Your flat is looking amazingly festive, if you don't mind me saying.
Thank you. I thought so that's why I'm sitting on the floor, so that you get to see my little Christmas tree. I do love Christmas, even though I'm a goth. I love Christmas.
Goth love Christmas.
I love it.
Goth love Christmas.
Exactly.
And I don't know why we do. We love Halloween. Halloween's the goth Christmas, but then Christmas is still the goth Christmas. Do you know what I mean? And it's always. Although I remember one year I I made like kind of goth Christmas crackers for everyone, and they had like goth jokes in them. Like, did you hear about the goth massage parlor? They specialize in unhappy endings. Come on. What was the other one? For Christmas, we're going to the goth barbecue where all the meat is dark and the chicken cuts itself. I think that joke is gonna get me cancelled though, for the record. So I've said it now. I've said it now. That goes.
That's hilarious. You need to send me a link to those, because that's like so up my street.
Oh, I
think Halloween is the goth Christmas, but Christmas we like to make it goth, so we like to just warp it a little bit, and that is basically the plot of Nightmare Before Christmas.
All right, I was about to say that is the plot of The Dark Nun. That is the plot of The Dark Nun. That's the origin story. That's how we got there. That's how we got there. Veronica, there is so much to cover. But let's dive straight into it. You have been an actress, performer. God, there's so many different things coming on. Obviously, interviewing with ICW, modeling. What was the start? What was the start of kind of your journey into, I want to say the creative arts, but what was the kind of first step of stepping out of the ordinary, shall we say, for you?
I've always been a creative type. I think it's just a certain type of people.
Yeah.
We're just creative, so it's just something that we're just born with.
Yeah.
And I've always wanted to be on stage. I used to want to be behind the camera. That was the first thing that I wanted to do. I wanted to be a music video director. That was what I wanted to be when I was
sweet.
I loved music videos. I thought they were so cool.
What was your ones? What was your ones that you went, oh, that I want to make stuff like that?
Do you know, it's quite embarrassing. Do you remember the hip hop videos of Hype Williams? And they were all chrome and butts.
Chrome and butts. Did I hear that right?
Chrome and butts and cars. Listen, I was 14. Don't judge me.
It's what everyone was into. Chrome and butts.
Exactly.
And hip hop.
But of course, I grew up as well watching like the documentaries Michael Jackson made about doing all of his different videos and stuff. And I just loved watching the behind the scenes, the makeup, the cinematography, the way that you would set scenes up. I just found it really interesting. So I've always wanted to be part of something creative. I loved art. I loved painting. I still paint. And then I was in a band for a long time as well. I was a singer as well. I know you didn't know that about me.
I didn't know. What was the band's name? What was the band's name?
I'm not telling you.
Please do. Come on. Please do. I tell you what, every time you don't want to tell me something embarrassing, I'll tell you something about me, if that helps.
All right.
So what? Do you want me to go first?
No, but you delight in this. You're like, yeah, I'll tell you something embarrassing. It makes you happy. So you're just like, yeah, that's an easy trade-off.
Yeah, but it's there. It's there. Let me think. All right. Hey, Dickhead Billy here, jumping in for a second. Right, so I've played a little trick in Veronica. What I've done is I said I was going to confess something about myself. And you know something? When I listened to it back, I actually went, that is horrible. So nobody wants to hear that. So I thought I would take this opportunity to remind you about Braw Cast coming up on February 19th. Don't worry, the chat with Veronica is going to be right back. Here's a little bit of Braw Cast live.
Shut up, Dad. I could have been a dancer. Ah, it's just us. Hello, welcome to the Dry Gate. Here we are, the home of the Broad Beard and Mustache Championships, but we're not allowed to have one in 2022. But we came up with an idea. So why not have ourselves bit of a party, bit of a shindig, and we're inviting you to Braw Cast Live. You'll be able to come along for a night of comedy, music, entertainment, games, a little bit of everything. It's an excuse to all get together, have a drink and a bloody good time. There's going to be some chat on this stage with some amazing guests. We've got Lee Johnson, we've got Calvin Gowan, we've got pro wrestler Jack Jester, we've got Bruce Smart from T-Pop for One. Listen, get us down here, and of course, we've got JJ, who's filming. Say hi, JJ.
Hello.
Oh, and so much more, so why not join us on February the 19th? That's a Saturday. Get your tickets right now. What a Christmas present. What a Christmas present. So why not grab them right now? Head over to the website and we're going to see you. We've got the seats. Look, we've got a sofa. All we need. All we need.
The name of the band, well, after that, I'm quite comfortable revealing this to you.
Good.
The name of the band was Jendel Flight Mission.
Okay.
And Jendel was the planet that Kiss were from.
So it is. All right, that's gonna fuck things up when I Google that. Jendel Flight Mission.
I think there's still a YouTube video actually. I need to Google it as well.
Oh, it's coming up all manner of scary stuff, to be honest. I think I've spelled Jendel wrong. There's an article here from the Canadian.
As in Jen-Louise.
Oh,
and then Dell as in Dell computer.
I spelled that completely wrong. I spelled right. Okay, I want to see Jen Dell Flight Mission. It's coming up it's actually coming up NASA's Mars exploration program. So what happened with Jen Dell Flight Mission?
There's a sound. Oh my god, there's a sound click thing. What is this?
This is it. The recording's still there. We'll play it at the end of the show. Were you the singer?
Yeah, so I was in a band for a while.
Right.
And I would tour around lots of places, and I got to meet loads of people. The way that you do, you just meet loads of people, lots of creatives and stuff. Started meeting lots of people around Glasgow. And then once that sort of ended, I realized that I just loved being on stage, whether it was my own music or someone else's music.
Yeah.
I just love being like a front woman and up and kind of flying about the place and just being a bit crazy and climbing across bars and like slugging shots at people and stuff. Like I just loved it. I loved being crazy about it. And then I decided to try my hand at burlesque instead.
Now,
so I've done a bit of burlesque for a while.
I remember you doing burlesque at an ICW show. But I knew that you'd already been doing burlesque before that. So
yeah,
that I mean, I can only, as mad as it sounds, I've got one foot in the burlesque world, which is a weird thing to say. But I've worked with performers. I've worked with some amazing folk who are in there. That seems like, I mean, first of all, you need to have huge confidence to do that. And all these guys do, which I think is incredible. You need to have that creative edge about you as well, which you clearly have. But that seems like that's not an easy world to take a jump into. How did you go about making that jump from the stage to going, I'm getting into burlesque, I want to be in front of people, you know, making this completely different type of art? How did you go about doing that?
Just pure brass neck, Billy.
Yeah.
Pure brass neck.
Love it. Love it.
It was pure brass neck. Actually, the first thing that I did is I went to a burlesque class.
Okay.
I went to a burlesque class to sort of try and learn the moves.
Right.
And I can't even remember who it was that done it. And it was terrible. It was awful. I hated it. I was like, I could do a much better job than that. It was more just like a glorified fitness class at the time, and I just didn't like it. So I moved away from that, and I just decided I'm going to go for it. I went online, I read books, I researched as much as possible about like different motions, like different ways that you can build a story. The exact same way that you build sort of a wrestling match. You have those building blocks. It's the exact same way with any sort of act. You need like a beginning, you need a middle, you need a tease, you need a reveal at the end, and how to build those acts. So I sort of learned it myself and did my best. I also had some wonderful guidance as well.
Right.
I had some guidance from Rachel Atlas, who you know very well.
Oh, Rachel.
Yeah.
Yes,
Rachel Atlas, she's far, far away just now.
She is. Hopefully, we'll see her back on Plague Island sometime soon. But I think she
well,
can.
they've just come out of lockdown. They were just in lockdown.
They are, but right. In case you wonder what we were talking about, it made it sound like she's.
Oh, yeah.
Hopefully, one day we'll see her back. It's New Zealand that she's in. Where my brother lives actually, and they're like so far behind us in terms of these waves and variants and what have you. But they're just out of lockdown now. But their lockdown is kind of like, oh, have you heard they're shutting the chip shop for 20 minutes? Holy crap! How will we survive? So, but I think she started performing. I think she's performing back out there actually doing, or she was.
She is indeed. So for those that don't know, Rachel Atlas brought lots of people together in a show called Cirque du Mort.
Yes.
She's also a world traveling burlesque and sort of freak show artist. She does like sword swallowing, fire. She walks on knives. She does loads of things.
She's like a creative director as well. You know, she's almost like
she's a businesswoman.
Yeah, an Obi-Wan Kenobi of these type of things. She seems to bring out the best in folk. And a bit of a Jedi from the respect of she'll convince you something was your idea.
Yes.
And it's like, when did you come up with that idea, Billy? Oh, it's, well, I can remember Rocky Horror. It's like, why did you end up dropping 2 stone to do Rocky Horror? Oh, it was fucking Rachel Atlas.
Rachel Atlas?
Why did I put myself through that? I could have just said no. Why didn't I say no?
I know. There was one of the Cirque du Morts. I was in 3 separate acts.
That's right.
And I was in 3 separate acts and I was like dancing for the road of the show. I'm not a professional dancer. I was fucking knackered, Billy.
There you were.
I was knackered. I was up there. I was up there for like 3 acts, and there was only like 6 or 7 acts for the whole night, and I was out there all the time. I'm like, I'm not an athlete, like not by any stretch of the imagination. But that night, I was in for lots of numbers. But or was it 4 numbers?
I remember you doing. I can't remember if that was the Wizard of Oz one, because I seem to recall you being in your Wizard of Oz gear most of the night.
I was.
In case anyone's wondering.
That was a separate one.
That was a separate one.
I was, it was the year I did vampires. Do you remember vampires?
Oh God! Well, there was only a few of them.
It was a Halloween one, and we all dressed up as like sort of 18th century vampires.
Yes. Vampires. Look at us. That was so sexy or evil.
I have a fan here. Get away from me.
I think everyone was talking like that as well. It was like beyond Interview with a Vampire, Lost Boys, levels of camp, and people were just love it. I love that kind of stuff. Nobody ever turns around and go, why are you always going all the time? Don't make any sense. Why are we hissing like cats? Vampires. Nobody ever talks about that.
No, well, it just seems like the natural thing to do. It just feels right, really. It feels right.
Listen, if it feels right, you go for it. Unless it's a Disneyland. Moving along very quickly.
Moving along. So it was Rachel Atlas that, and I mean, there were some others along the way that sort of went through my burlesque career, and even right up until now, she's still a massive influence on me. But it wasn't until the past couple of years that I really felt that I got a burlesque community.
Yeah.
I joined a troupe called the Glasgow School of Burlesque.
Yes.
The Temple of Teas troupe with world-renowned Agatha Frisky.
Yes.
Who is a noted burlesque performer. She's incredible. An amazing burlesque name, first of all. Agatha Frisky, it's one of my favourites. She's just incredible, and what an amazing teacher as well. So she's the leader of the pack at GSOB. And it's just such a wonderful, inclusive, supportive environment to be in. I've never been in anything like it. It's whatever level, there's no such thing as a bad dancer, but she does show you dancing techniques. Like, she's very well trained. She's very, very well trained. She shows you all the different moves to do and how to exercise different parts of your body and different movements, from the blues to Charleston to samba to like everything. She's amazing. Wonderful person.
That's the awesome thing. Like, obviously, I've done stuff with Entertainment in Glasgow and Wild Cabaret and oh god, I forgot his name, Cirque as well. But the thing is I got to learn because I'd done theatre shows and what have you. So there's a little bit of a theatrical background in there, but actually getting to watch and see the difference between good burlesque and bad burlesque is incredible. Because you do go, and you suddenly do get the fascination. And if people don't know what burlesque, yes, it's all about these different styles of burlesque. I was about to say, like some you'll get, it's all about the tease, it's all about taking the clothes off. But again, it's like you said, there's a narrative to it. You're telling a story. You're telling a story. Like I would a stand-up set, I want to start hot, and then I maybe want to dip, and I want this, and I want this reaction, finish on a high, and away I go. But it is quite funny just watching someone that's not bothered training. Well, I've got an Evanescence CD, so I'll put that on, and they go out and it's a car crash. But you guys have excelled at that, definitely. The first time I saw you do burlesque was probably in one of the most unusual environments. And that's the incredible thing for burlesque performers. First of all, you guys are fearless. Like, comedians are considered to be fearless. Musicians are maybe a bit less fearless, but burlesque performers are the most fearless motherfuckers out there, and you're right up there with pro wrestlers. It's incredible. On that note, the first time I saw you do it was, now I know it was May 4th.
It was May the 4th.
I know it was May the 4th.
I'm sure it was 2012 or 2011, I want to say.
It could be round about then. It could even be as late as 2013. I'm not entirely sure, but it's round about that period, give or take.
By 2013, I was working for ICW.
Yeah, but I knew
it was just before.
I think it was just before it, and it was. I want to say anyway. So if you would, May 4th, we've given you a bit of a clue. In the middle of a pro wrestling ring, Darth Vader turns up like you've never seen Darth Vader before.
Don't tell me the Imperial March doesn't beg for a burlesque performance. Dun, 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 dun. The legs going up. Tell me.
I loved it. The audience loved it. But what also got me was people just going, what am I watching? What is this? What is this? So talk us through your performance.
When I took my brow.
That's right.
And it just went da-dum, da-dum, da-dum.
And then, if I remember correctly, still with the Darth Vader mask on. Still with the mask on.
No, the Darth Vader was off.
Did it come off? It's still like, I don't know. And
I still had my cape on.
Yeah,
I still had my cape on.
Classy. I remember commentating on it, and already you get to commentate some weird things, and I think I might have said, folks, I've got nothing. I never thought until this moment I was expected to commentate over a burlesque performance of Darth Vader ripping down. I mean, it's not something they teach you at wrestling commentator school, I can assure you. D1 burlesque. What? So, but that was incredible.
Do you remember at the end of that performance, both of my nipple tassels, as I was coming out of the ring, came off on the middle row? I
do, because you walked up, and at the point, our commentary desk was at the end of the aisle. So you basically came up and went, we surprised for you as you're walking backstage or whatever it was. And it's like, don't bring me into this. Don't bring me into this.
I didn't realise that's right, so I did, because I didn't realise at the time until I seen your face, and your face went.
I think it might have even went, you know they're off, right? You know they're off, right? Because it might sound weird, but in the theatrical world, what have you do see other folk naked all the time, and it just becomes part of the job, but it's just like, just so you know, just as a heads up, the tassels are off. And to your credit, we surprised for you, because it must have been like me and a small amount of people that saw it. So there we go. What a debut performance. And we never saw it anymore in ICW. I think that was the hit of it. So we talked about ICW. We've talked about the journey into burlesque as well, from music I mean, obviously, you still have one hand in that kind of gothic theatrical with Cirque du Mort. Hopefully, maybe we'll see something like that in the future. Hopefully, it'd be great if we saw it back. But in the world we live in right now, we just don't know. We just don't know. And we can talk about that in a wee bit. But let's talk about your journey into insane championship wrestling. Now, I hate asking the question, but I'm going to ask it. Wrestling fan before coming into wrestling, where was your journey into that? How did you get hooked into pro wrestling?
It's a bit of a strange journey.
Okay.
It was a really, really strange journey that I mean, of course I watched it when I was younger, but I wasn't like a huge fan, but I remember watching it and like seeing it.
Yeah.
And like whenever it was on, I was like just absolutely engrossed, loved it.
I bet you loved the Brood.
Fell away from
I bet you loved the Brood. One day
do you know what I loved? And what's his? I can't remember his name now.
Oh God! Guess the wrestler. Give me a clue. Give me a clue. Give me a clue.
Hold on.
She'll have his number on his phone.
Oh, what was his name?
Come on. What do he look like?
I want to say Boss.
The Big Boss Man.
In Big Boss Man. And I don't know why.
I don't know why. Man.
Anyway, so I was watching stuff like that when I was younger.
Yeah.
And then I fell away from it when I got older and I got into other things and stuff, kind of fell away from it. And I wasn't really, I watched it again sort of in the 2000s and nothing really grabbed me at the time.
Right.
And it wasn't until friends of mine were like, oh, you know, there's more to wrestling than WWE. And I was like, what? And then I was shown, the very first match I was shown that I was like, oh, okay. It was Paul London versus AJ Styles.
Wow, that's quite
Ring of Honor.
That's a big shift. That's a big, because I mean,
like,
people forget there's this whole other world out there.
What is this?
Yeah.
What is this? And it was like the start of the match, I was like, what? And by the end of the match, I was like, right, I need to have more. And then I was sort of introduced to more and more. I was introduced to CZW. I'm like a big fan of sort of deathmatch wrestling, like New Japan. I was just introduced to sort of the more extreme side and less sort of PG side of wrestling. It was too PG for me. I wanted the sort of the soap opera, the unrealistic, the suspended disbelief is hanging on by a thread. Like, I love that sort of stunt show drama. That's what I like about wrestling. I like the ridiculousness of it. So that's how I started with getting into watching wrestling. But then it was, right, well, there must be something locally. So I started going to ICW. Yeah. And it was like my rebirth with wrestling and my journey with ICW went together. I actually found tickets from Apollo 23.
Oh my God.
I know. And I've kept like everything from ICW, I've kept in like a little box. Scripts. I'm really sentimental.
Oh, I wish I'd done that, man. I can't think. I've probably got quite a lot of cool shit lying around, but I haven't made like a little memory box or something. Like, I do wonder.
It's not even it's just a cupboard that I put all of my things in the cupboard. Secrets. Like scripts, backstage passes, magazines. Do you remember the ICW magazine?
I do.
We used to get as well.
Yeah.
So I started going to ICW and I have lots of tickets from going to different shows. And I was already friends with a number of people that worked in the wrestling. So I was like, I started chatting to them. And then I made friends with Mark Dallas. And he's seen my burlesque performance and I was like, all right, so what, I want to get involved. Like, I'm quite a creative person. And he was like, I've got the job for you. So we sort of created this Veronica Le Strange character. Yeah. To be the backstage interviewer. So the idea of it was a burlesque performer interviewer. So I would very much look like a burlesque performer. That was the sort of goal of it, to try and make it a little bit different, sort of like the Elvira of wrestling.
Yeah.
You know, just be like tits and teeth and like a wee bit of attitude about it. So that's how I got into wrestling. Mark Dallas just went, I've seen your tits. That's terrible. I shouldn't say that. It was more than that. He was also my friend.
But the thing about Mark is these when he's in his element, there's 10 ideas going at one time. He's able to foresee things like I can even remember like the first night I went in and dicked about in the ring as a comedian, and he went, because I went, oh, I'd love to do like something else. I went, well, I've got something. Well, we'll talk.
Yeah.
And it ended up being.
He's really good at like seeing like that one talent that someone has. Because he was saying to me, he always said it's the way that you stand and it's the way that you speak.
Yeah.
So that's the thing that's good about you. You're a good presenter.
For me, it was,
and he still says that to this day.
For me, and I knew that we were going to become pals, right? But I also knew it's like I'm going to look forward to working with her, because as silly as it sounds, it was your energy when you were doing the burlesque performance, and even how you were treating it coming out. It's like she's just loving it and just having fun and just even not taking yourself seriously. You can take the real world seriously, but you should never take yourself too seriously.
Exactly.
And that is often when I'll put the shutters down on someone. It's like, if you're not able to just recognize how ridiculous. I mean, the number of times, got the various commentators partners I've had over the years, so I'm sure I've got plenty of bad things. Will tell you just before the show starts, I am the silliest wee goose that you will find.
Are you?
Just before the show starts. And I mean, even before we go out, I don't even know what happens.
What happens to you?
Yeah, I can just feel like people go like, I want to get away from him, because I don't even know what he's going to do. It's going to be fine. We're going to have a great time. But I knew you would bring that energy, and that's kind of what ICW were looking for at the time. They were looking for that energy. Exactly. And Mark and all the team there at the time were rebuilding ICW. So it wasn't just a little independent promotion. Not that there's anything wrong with that. But we were building TV. We needed a backstage interviewer, because no one else in wrestling was doing that. And we didn't just want a good backstage interview. We wanted a great one. You know what I mean? You don't want, like, I literally saw footage of somebody doing backstage interviews, and they literally look like they're in a cupboard. Like, I'm not even joking. They look like, we got your space, they're a cupboard, and you go. Just don't mind them, don't touch the mops or the circle thing that goes on the bottom of the floor. Don't touch them. This is your place. And you brought a real element to it. And you can see wrestlers are even coming in and going, oh, I need to up my game, because I'm not asking you to name names, but as you have perfected the role, and you've worked with Jen Louise as well, helping her develop her role. I know you took her under your wing, and you guys are very much this whole new thing all of your own. You got to tell me some car crashes. Has there been car crashes when it's come to interviewing? Because I do not get to see you much on show days, because you're always away, you're always interviewing, you're chasing folk. How has there been any car crashes on interviews? Have people not had anything to say? And how much do you have to work with people that come in?
Oh, well, it has been, when I first started with ICW, it was like pulling teeth, trying to get people down. Some people really took to it and went, oh, a creative opportunity. They've seen the interviews for what they were. It was an opportunity to get your character across. It was an opportunity for you to tell a story just outside of the ring, to like push it along. It's an opportunity for you. But a lot of people just couldn't be bothered. And were just very dismissive of the whole thing. You
were ahead of the game in the UK at that time, because while we saw elements of that. Of course, we see that in like big TV, and I find it funny when people go like, "Oh, you're just trying to copy WWE or New Japan or Impact Wrestling." It's like, so hang on. We are wanting to do as well, if not better, the same thing that the biggest wrestling companies in the world are doing right. Yeah, so we're shite horses for doing that. So we should do it really badly? Like, how does that work?
Like what?
Yeah. And
I know exactly, like people, there were a lot of people that would be really stubborn about it. So I would get a lot of pressure from, of course, management to try and get these sort of promos, these interviews. And then I would try and get the interviews and I would just be faced with the blank no. And like, what can you do in those situations? I've tried everything to try and get people round, but there is, of course, some wonderful promos that I just cringe at now. There was ones with Sumerian Death Squad.
Those lads.
There was one. There was one.
We love you. We love you, Tommy. We love you, Dante.
We love you, Tommy. We love you, Dante, so much. But there's one where they've got me in a corner and they're trying to intimidate me. So it's like their two profiles, and I'm in the middle, and I'm just like. And it turns out the car crash was me.
Oh no!
Every time I watch it, I'm like, oh. And I know they say don't remove the cringe, remove the part of you that cringes, but I can't remove that part of me that cringes for that one. So that one was like really, really bad. I mean, anything else that's like a horrible promo, like trying to draw blood from a stone, it's not really it usually comes down to they just don't know what they're doing.
Have a delivery. Right. My dog's losing his mind. Okay. 1 second, excuse me.
All right.
Mystery package. Don't know what it is. Don't know what it is. Guy asked me my first name and I forgot. What's your first name? And I went, why? And I went, just write down. Sorry, you were saying about the cringe factors, people not having anything when they came to you, when they worked with you.
Yeah. When there's different ones as well where if they just don't have anything either to say or be prepared and they're not really willing to listen to me, because there's been a number of times where I've dressed up like people have been not prepared and I'm like, listen, just say this, I'll cut the promo to them, and then they just cut the promo back.
Yeah.
And simple as anything. But there's some people, if they're just not getting it, I wouldn't consider that as bad. Do you know what I mean? I would just be like, right, there's something to work on there.
Do you think, well, I think with a lot of people, it's, and you won't think it with big wrestlers and what have you, but I think there is a level of insecurity in there. I mean, they say it's not, oh, I'm stressing about the promo. There isn't, and it's not stress, it's fear. I always say, it took me years, it took me years to figure that out.
Yeah, I think it is. It's a little bit of insecurity, and sometimes as well, like when you're a backstage interviewer or you're trying to get, you're trying to get a promo, you're trying to get an interview. A lot of the wrestlers don't really count you as part of the team, which is a barrier that you have to get over.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a couple of wrestlers that you would try and get them over. It's really important, it's imperative that you get good at this if you want to be a wrestler. If you want to go to these big promotions, the one thing that you need to get better at is these interviews, and we would push that narrative quite a lot. This is what you should do, this is what you should do. We push that narrative constantly, and there have been some people that have went away to NXT and then they've come back and then they're all for the promo and it's great. Yeah. And I'm like, see, I told you. And then they'll be like, no, you never. Yes, I did.
Well, we got to cover many different elements of that, right? Because one of the things that I always, whenever I've done classes or I've been working with people, and it is like, if you can't cut that here, you can't cut it out there. Oh, I'll cut it out there. I went, no, they won't let you go out there. If you understand what I'm saying, you need to get good at this so they see you get good at this. Yeah. Otherwise, nobody's going to want to give you a mic, and the number of people, I'm a good talker. Don't worry, I'll get out there. And they've got nothing. Did you think of anything before you went through? And like Dallas and Rudo, they're all very shrewd men. They know that they'll be able to cut around, get what they need, but they're also having to go, oh, you've got this. Okay, let's see what you got. And some of those guys we don't see. So if there's any wrestlers watching, what have you, put in the work and take on the knowledge.
Put in the work.
Exactly.
I mean, I think as well, it's one of the things that sets Scottish wrestling apart is the sheer caliber of our talkers, of the character of our wrestlers, the way that they can grab a mic and just go for it. It is wonderful. But there's also, I mean, there has been some promos of what as well that have never seen the light of day.
Right.
Just because they were so hilarious. Or like we thought we were filming one thing and it turns out it's something completely different. Just like when you're trying to like set a scary scene, it's the same thing with the Sumerian Death Squad, where you're trying to set a scary scene when they're trying to be like cheeky but intimidating at the same time, and then you watch it back and you're like, this is so awkward. I can't watch this. And at the time you think this is great, this is fantastic, and then you watch it back and it was the worst thing you've ever done.
But
so I think
that's why we get to
you have
reshoot
to
things.
try. Yeah, you have to try everything. You have to try everything.
So
and just go for it.
And I know you work with plenty of female performers, and you have to insert yourself into a male-dominated, I think we would say. Well, I hate using that because I think we're in a very different world now, which is amazing news. But I know that you've always considered yourself to be a shoulder for people and to support people in the wrestling community. Is that something that you've just naturally taken through your creative life, being somebody there to listen to the performers and to help give them support? Is that something you've always wanted to do?
Yeah, 100%. I just like realized very early on in life that you shouldn't compete with other people. Like they're not you, you're not them. Everyone's got a different path in life, and in creative communities can get very competitive very, very quickly, and people try and like shoulder bump each other out of the way. And I'm just not. If there's an opportunity, someone's going to get it, and if that person gets it, great. I'll get the next one, I'll get another one. And it's not, there's plenty of room here for everyone. And I find that it's an incredibly difficult place to be around. So I try and be the opposite of that and try and be as supportive and welcoming. And even when the first time Jen Louise came out, we were actually talking about this, me and Jen, at the Barrowlands. When Jen Louise first came into ICW, everyone expected me to lose it and be really, really angry about it. That was the anticipation of my reaction. So no one told me because everyone was too scared to tell me for some reason. Yeah, no one told me until the day of. And she sat there and they went, "This is the new interviewer." And I went, "Okay, hiya." So I was like, "Hiya, how are you?" And I was kind of taken aback a bit. Yeah. I was like, "Right, okay, right, I'm just going to go and get ready." And then I went and I sat myself down and I'm like, why are they not telling me this? That was the bit that I was upset by. And another member of the ICW staff that's no longer there came back and they went, "Well, bury her then." And I said, "What?" They went, "Bury her." No, I would never. And I was so angry that I was like, is that what everyone's expecting me to do? So I was like, well, absolutely not. So I went in and I chatted to Jen and I just took her under my wing, as you said. Like, I was like, no, absolutely not. Like, I'm going to be as supportive as possible. I'm not going to be mean or be bitchy. It's time that we support each other. It's just something that does come naturally to me.
There's a phrase, but it's just because you blow out someone else's light doesn't make yours burn any brighter. It doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense. And you guys have become great friends during that time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. We became wonderful friends.
Which surprises me because she's awful. I mean, I can't stand her.
I mean, she's a terrible.
She hits me. She hits me.
She hits everybody, Billy. You're no special. She puts it, "Oh, I'm dead nice. Look at me. I've got blonde hair," and then she bites you. I've got teeth marks.
I don't even want to know where you got those teeth marks. We both know they didn't come from Jen. So
They did. It was Jen.
I'm just worried she's watching. But you become such a big part of the ICW family and over this time. And I really appreciate taking the time to talk to us today on Braw Cast. But I want to talk to you about just a couple of things as we're finishing up. A couple of random questions that we got on about ICW and about other things. First of all, greatest moment in ICW. What would be your greatest moment, you?
Oh my God.
All right, a greatest moment's quite hard. Give me a couple of your favorites.
That is hard. The greatest moment in ICW.
Ones that you look back on, maybe a couple ones that you look back on, you go, yes.
Opening the show with you at Shug's house party the first time we did ABC.
Oh,
and it was in front of 2,500 people, and they all started chanting my name.
That's right.
And I was like, what? Like, me? What? Me? What else?
Is that the one that came out dressed in a wedding dress? I can't remember.
No, that was You've Been a Kilt. You have worn the dress a couple of times, but only when there's a wedding.
Look, if I'm going to a wedding, I'm being a flower girl. I don't give a shit who's getting married.
We need to get you, see, for the next wedding, we need to get you a bum bag and just like stuff it full of petals so that you can be like with all the.
I just always remember the last one we did. So I can't. You might even help me with my makeup. Actually, I can't even recall.
I think you did do your makeup. Dress. I've done your makeup a couple of times.
Still in the dress, looking at a picture and going.
Not very well, but.
Looking. I was all clean shaven, looking at myself in the mirror and going, "Mum," literally going, "Mum, that's mum. That's mum." Sent a picture to my brother and went, "Who's this? Holy shit, mum! I know. I am built exactly like mum. Out of the lot of us, broad-shouldered, kind of square-head, she had a jaw herself, man. And oh my God, my mom looking back at me. Poor woman. That's all I can think of. Is that why Is that why I had a fractured relationship with my dad? Did every time he see me walking in and go, "Oh, Jesus Christ." It was too much for him. So there was that. Give me another one of your favorites in ICW then. Give me another one of your favorites.
Oh my goodness. Well, another one of my favorite moments was that I got to see Lionheart's This Is Your Life with Jackie Polo. That I was in the ring with that. That was by far my favorite segment of all time.
Hey, that was the greatest 3 hours of pro wrestling. That segment was the greatest 3 hours of pro wrestling I've ever seen. And you know, the first thing is, like, on commentary, I am burying it to fill time. Like, I have to. It's probably one of the rarest occasions. I hate this. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it.
It was amazing. It was amazing. It was that sort of like, it got to the point where the audience were just completely silent and then so angry.
Yeah. Do you remember Mr. T's speech that he made at the Hall of Fame? Like, because he was doing really well, and then he started talking about his mum, and people were like, "Oh no!" And then he said something about like, "You know, mums are great. They're raisers," and they went, "Yeah, they are." It's like, I'd like to thank my mum for getting an infection in the urethra when she had me. Oh no! And it just, I've never seen a crowd go. And what it is This Is Your Life, where they're bringing out everyone from Lionheart's past, and there was cues. And he was gags, and he was dressing up, and like it went on forever. And I've never seen the crowd go, "Hey, just being all over the place." Why all over the place? And you had to be in the ring for the whole thing.
I had to be in the ring for the whole thing. Me and Molly Spartan, when she worked backstage, we had little trays full of snacks for This Is Your Life. And I can remember being out in the ring and thinking, I've got too much work to do to be backstage. I got no time for this shit. Back then.
I'll tell you,
it was like one of my all-time favorite moments.
I'll tell you how long it went.
It was so good.
I was delighted when someone started talking because I ran off and had a piss. That's how, and I don't mean backstage. I got off the stage, went through the crowd, went for a pee, came back, and it's still going. Still going. Still going. Love it. Love it. I know
So
you're
good.
into, I know you're
So
into
good.
your horror as well. Give me a couple of horror films we could watch at Christmas that you would suggest.
Oh, at Christmas.
Yeah.
Ooh. Well, I like classic horror films like the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you know, Friday the 13th. But sort of modern ones I really like. There's a French one called Switchblade Romance.
Yes.
That is incredible. It's a really good slasher film, and it takes on that sort of slasher film dynamic.
Yeah.
But there is just a moment in it where it's just amazing, because it's just great. I do love a slasher film. But around about Christmas, I don't know. I haven't really watched any like sort of Christmassy themed horror films.
I have a habit of watching Texas Chainsaw Massacre 2. It's one of my favorite films.
Seems is it because it's meaty?
It's because it's meaty and it's actually making fun of itself, which I love. And the commentary track on it is brilliant. I love get that bitch Leatherface. Bill Moseley is not only a Twitter pal, right? Chop Top is not only a Twitter pal, but he's also a wrestling fan. So there you go.
That's made me very excited. That's made me very excited.
Give him a follow.
Back. Oh yes, please. Give me a wee shout out, Billy, and be like, please follow this person. So, and I'll just be like, hi. I've got it on
wrestling. Get followed by John Cena. I'm followed by John Cena. I'm followed by
I Am Brew
and Tom Cruise.
All right.
Why?
Tom Cruise,
but but you know the most brutal thing is when I discovered I wasn't following them back, and that really spooked me out. It was because what it was is George Bowie, the DJ, was in Italy, and he saw them filming Mission Impossible 4, and he took a picture going, "Hey, there's a Tom Cruise there," and I went, I'm gonna go on Tom Cruise's. I'm going to take a picture of Tom Cruise's Twitter, and I'm going to create a fake post of Tom Cruise going, "Oh my God, I just saw GBX in Italy," right? And then when I went on Tom Cruise's Twitter page, I went, "What?" Because it says follows you, and it's like, why is Tom Cruise following me? And it freaked me out, man. It proper freaked me out.
How many people does he follow? That's crazy.
I mean, we all know it's going to be like he's PR team or something, or I'll have mentioned something somewhere, but it's still.
I think Yoko Ono follows me.
That's cool. That's very cool.
That's pretty cool. Yoko Ono follows me. I Am Brew, best one.
I Am Brew. Yoko Ono, that's a pretty good team. That's the team we didn't know we needed.
I know, that's okay. But nobody else but Bray Wyatt follows me.
That's good. That makes sense. On brand.
I know, like we're the similar sort of brand type thing. Very honoured. And that's it. That's me. That's all my claim to fame.
Humble brags right at the end.
I'm done.
Finally, what is we're going back right to the start. What is the music video that you wish you directed and you'd love to remake today?
Ooh. Childish Gambino. I wouldn't remake it. No, I wouldn't remake it, actually. I wouldn't remake it.
This is Scotland would be interesting.
This is Scotland. Like a version.
This is Scotland. Oh, fuck me, that would be grim. Can we get
fossil?
And we'll have all the Scottish things. You know what it will have. We'll have Jakey's. We'll have Mad Leon. We'll have the guy from the Easy Lionel meme.
Yeah.
I'm sure we can get them all in.
Well, Mad Leon. That's not a bank machine.
Well, you got a little preview there.
Like, this is America. That's not a bank machine.
There we go. 2022. You're going to see it. We're going to get Veronica Le Strange back in the director's chair. And oh my God, it's going to blow your mind. Veronica, this has been so much fun. How can people find you and see what you're up to online? How can you get in touch? What's the best way to go about it?
So you can follow me on Twitter, Veronica Salt, like salt and pepper. So just Veronica Salt. You can find me on Instagram, Veronica, and then it's Veronica Salt, but it's Veronica SSAULT on Instagram as well. If you want to see me live and in person, you can come to the Glasgow School of Burlesque GSOB events. We have Le Tits now on the 19th of December. We'll also be at Slay as well, doing the Grinches as a wonderful Slay Grinches sort of group performance. It's going to be very festive and a little bit cheeky. So you can come on down.
A little bit cheeky. And that's certainly the way we're going to finish things up here on the show. Veronica, amazing. Thank you very much. Yay!
Yeah.
I'll hand to Billy in the past. Billy in the past, it's over to you. Awesome. Another great episode. I hope you really enjoyed it. It was great to catch up with Veronica. And, we've had so many interesting people in the podcast. We've had MMA fighters, we have comedians, we have pro wrestlers, we have actors, we have beard models, we have barbers. So many, we have a musician through the music. We've had people that actually create the instruments for musicians. And going into 2022, we're going to have some amazing guests on as well. I'm really, really excited about 2022. And I don't think I'm spoiling anything. We've got even more extra content, right? So if you're wanting to head over to the YouTube channel, hit that subscribe button, right? You'll get vlogs from JJ, get other additional how-to videos and so much more. But we have got some exciting stuff coming. You're going to want to check it out. It's going to be funny. It's going to be different. It's going to be something that I don't think anyone's doing. So for all the people that like to watch this and steal our content, it's going to be a fun one, so look out for it. Listen, I think this is the last episode before Christmas. It's a hard time right now, and there's a lot going on in the world that people are very uncertain of. But you know something? Don't let that cloud your day. Don't let that. Just look after yourself. Stay safe. Keep as positive a mindset as you can. I know you will, but remember, right here at Braw Cast, you've been with us now for nearly, for the time that I've hosted it, it's like 90 episodes plus. So we really appreciate being here each and every week. If you have been, hopefully it's got you through it. And there's a lot more still to come. So in this time, keep yourself safe. I know that Christmas is never an easy time for anyone. Don't get anxiety about it. Just remember the stuff that you can control. And if anything's really bothering you, just turn that dial down. And just forget about it. It has no business occupying your brain, because this is the time of year where you should get some time to chill out, relax, be with friends and family. And if you are struggling at this time, please don't forget to reach out, because there's plenty of people that care about you. There's plenty of people that love you and want you to be safe, and have yourself a great Christmas. Got it deep at the end, didn't it? Wasn't expecting that. All right, listen, look after yourself, and I am going to see you just after Christmas. In fact, we might even put out some extra content just to say hi. I would love to do a Broadbeard Queen speech. Honest to God, I'm telling you right now, if I can get a drag queen, would I drag up? No, nobody needs to see that. If I could get it, it's an idea for next year, actually. Right, we'll come back to that another time. Have yourself a great Christmas, and we will see you very, very soon. Cheers, bye. Hey. Braw Cast Live, we're back at Drygate. We're going to see you then. Book a ticket, you prick.